Today I have just received this packet. This is something that was launched almost a month ago, and it has been quite difficult to get because you cannot officially buy it from to Spain, sent to Spain. So I had a friend in Germany just buy it and ship it back to me, and I have received it today. This is the Windows Developer Kit. This is a machine dedicated for developers. As you can see, this is the original package. It has nothing special. There are some serial numbers here and there, and it just comes in this little black box. It's smaller in one dimension than the Mac Mini and bigger on the other, so it's not a square, it's more of a rectangle. Here on the front we only have a light here, I suppose. On the right side nothing. On the left side there are some buttons. Two of them are recessed and the other looks like recessed but it's not. Two USB-C ports, and on the back we have three USB-A, one RJ45, the power connector, and the mini display port. So what's special about this machine is that besides being targeted only for developers, not for end users, it contains a Qualcomm chip, so it's not an Intel or AMD chip. It's not the x64 architecture, also known as x86-64, but it's an ARM architecture, a 64-bit ARM architecture. So I'm going to test it, and I'm also going to stream it and then record it and add to this video and see how well it works for developers, because most of the benchmarks has been focused on gaming. And well, this is a machine for developers. It's not a machine for users. This is a machine so us developers can prepare software so users can have a final product later on. On the box, besides having the machine here, we have the power brick. So let's take it out. So this is a standard 8-figure power cable, and the power brick itself. The power brick says 90 watts. So that's quite power for an ARM machine. I think it may be more powerful than a Mac Mini, but I will not measure power. I will also not open the machine. You can see that on other videos. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open it, install Visual Studio, try to compile some applications, some of the applications I'm working on, maybe some other application I can get. And we also test browser performance. That's also important for most of the developers, and try how everything behaves when used as a developer. I will try with Visual Studio 2022 as well as JetBrains and directly from the command line just using .NET. So let's plug it in and see you in a moment. Or well, after a few hours when I finish installing everything, I will put snippets and continuation of this part of the video. Let's start with a graphics benchmark, Valley benchmark. Now we can see we get an score of 717 with an average FPS of 17.1, minimum FPS of 9.3 and maximum FPS of 34.6. Comparing with other machines, like for example the Mac Mini N1 that gets an score of 1141 with an average FPS of 27.3, a minimum FPS of 7, a maximum FPS of 45, as well as a small Ryzen 2200G that on the same DirectX 11 gets a score of 491 with an average FPS of 11.7, minimum of 8.3 FPS and maximum 20.7, we can see that this machine is more powerful on graphics rendering than typical integrated graphics PCs, but less powerful than the Apple N1 chip. This is a developer machine, it's not designed for games, but I think that the performance it can give using game engines is more than enough for the development and testing of games targeted for this platform, Windows on ARM. Now, let's see how long it takes to compile Aru. Aru is a C# solution, a C# project that has several submodules and projects and quite a lot of Nugget references, and it's big. It's not huge, but it's big. It takes more than a few seconds. It has taken a total of 57.53 or 54 if you want to do an approximation seconds. That's a little more than the Apple N1 at 43 seconds and almost half of a Ryzen 2200G. And finally, let's try the Jetstream browser benchmark on Microsoft Edge. So here we get a score of 167,531. That's higher than the Ryzen 2200G, but almost half of the Apple M1. So here we can see that the JavaScript engine on Edge can get some optimizations, but we still see more or less the same as on other tests. This machine is not so much slower than M1, but still costs almost half of that. So how well it compares? On average, it's about 68% as fast as an Apple M1 Mac Mini, but it costs less than half that price for the same characteristics. Well, you can get an Apple M1 Mac Mini with 32 GB of RAM, so that's out of the question. But not so much important, benchmarks that you can see in other videos as well as these small benchmarks I did. The thing is how it feels when on use. Well, it feels pretty well. It feels pretty good. It feels that a more than capable machine for development. So you're a development and you think you have to target the ARM architecture, you have to target the future, you should get this machine as a development machine. Right now, is this or a Surface laptop if you prefer laptops, but on desktop this is the best you can get. So let's go to open it. Okay, let's go and open this beauty. We can see that it has 4 screws below. There are Torx screws. So let's just open them. And it seems to be clipped, so let's use a spudger here, or maybe not clipped. Yes. Oh, it's not even clipped. So it's quite easy to get out. There are no cables below, no nothing. Amazing. So yeah, this is the motherboard here. I'm not going to disconnect the motherboard, or no, this is more like a daughterboard. I will get a more better view here on this camera. So it's a huge fan here. Then here we have the SSD. There's a space for a bigger SSD, but there is nothing here to hold it. And then here there is a Dogger board with the converters, I suppose. And this below is the motherboard. We can see there is a lot of unique connectors here and some Canton tape holding the antennas. It's a lot of blank space. It clearly shows that this motherboard is not designed for this box. So this box could have been smaller with a properly designed motherboard for it. This, yeah, looks like they reused the motherboard from Qualcomm. And on the upper side, the only thing we have here is a pad for a thermal pad for the SSD. Oh, there is a coin battery here hidden. That's important if you're going to store it for a long time, that maybe the coin battery will not last enough. And yeah, this is a daughterboard that takes all the inputs and converts it to something that the Surface motherboard expects, and the Surface motherboard gets here below. This is where the CPU is, and I can see the heatsink through the fan. It's a pretty beefy heatsink, and in motherboards continue to these 2 ports and the buttons. So yeah, this is a Surface motherboard. So there's really not much to see here, and say I'm not going to go deeper, but it's a quite interesting box. Most of the box is just metal. So the interference is shield. is most of the weight of the box, as well as the heatsink and fan assembly. That's quite beefy for this CPU. So let's just close it again. Very easy to put again back in. Screw them back. And then we're finished. So what are my conclusions for this device? For what it's sold to developers, is more than enough. It's amazing. It's very good for the price. It runs very fast. Visual Studio Rider, Node.js, everything you want to run on it, it will run pretty well. It's designed for creation and optimization of applications targeting Windows on ARM or Windows on ARM, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And I think it's a must-have device for software companies. And well, this is the little device for 699 euros without taxes and shipping. Or it was with taxes. Well, more or less that's the price. It cost me 730, as I said previously. I will use this device to code for Aru, and I think it's a good investment. Also, a disclaimer, I am employed by Microsoft. Everything that you have seen on this video is my own personal opinion. At the time of recording this, I have no authorization or anything representing Microsoft in any way. This is just my personal opinion on everything. And if you like this video and want to see more videos of me tinkering with hardware or software or doing repairs of retro computers, please go to my Patreon and subscribe, and also subscribe here on YouTube, and you can also follow me on Twitter as long as it stays, as well as Twitch. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye!